Okay, we are ready to begin our interview session, 15 minutes in length, with Marquette, the three student athletes, as you can tell from the stage cards, Cam Jones, Tyler Kolick, and Oso Ighodaro. Questions for any of our three students? And the microphone on the first one will go on the right here on the aisle.
Ben Steele, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Cam, this is for you. Shaka, he has that next play philosophy that he preaches. You guys have dealt with so many nagging injuries this year. Have you seen that next play philosophy play out for yourself and for your teammates as well this season?
Well, what up, Ben, first of all? It kind of just, take the excuses out of it. It takes what it takes. Hurt or not, if you hurt and you playing, we still need you to do your job, to the furthest extent that you can. And, we all out here trying to win. So it's a common goal. So if you got nagging injuries and you're going to play through it, we need you to play through it. We all out here trying to do one thing, for sure.
Okay, up front here on the left.
Wendell Barnhouse from Learfield Sports Communications. I want to ask a question for Oso and then follow up with one for Tyler. Can you explain how Coach Smart has kind of utilized you as sort of a secondary ball handler, distributor? You're second on the team in assists. And sort of for you personally, how does that work out on the floor?
Coach lets me handle the ball a lot, create action for other guys. We have a lot of good scorers on this team. So when I can facilitate and get them shots, it's good for our team. So Coach gives me the freedom to do that.
Tyler, what does it do for the team to have, obviously you're leading the nation in assists, but to have another guy like him to be kind of a secondary distributor?
Yeah, it just gives teams a different look. So it's not, me coming off the ball screen or Cam coming off the ball screen every time. Oso can come off the ball screens or he can break off his guy and make a play for other people. So it allows me to get off the ball and maybe get some catch and shoot opportunities.
Other questions? Okay. Again on the aisle.
Along the same lines, Oso and Tyler, if you both can speak to this, just your pick and roll chemistry has always been really strong. I'm curious how you guys view, was it always there from the start? How did you guys develop that? Just your perspective on how that came to be so good.
Oso, you want to start?
We just played a lot together. It wasn't always like that. I remember the first summer when Tyler got there, we played pickup. I couldn't catch any of his passes, and it took me a little bit. But we played 3 years together now, a ton of games, a lot of big moments, and the trust is there, just the feel for each other and where he's going to put the ball. So he's a great passer. He makes my job a lot easier.
I think really trusting each other and having those conversations about what we like, what we don't like. In the last game, it was a side ball screen, and he wanted to catch, and I kind of just waited him off to come set the screen. We went back on the other end. He's telling me to trust him, and so we can have those hard conversations no matter what's going on, either in the heat of the moment or in practice when we're trying to fix something. So I think the ball screen connection really just goes to our connection off the floor too.
Next question will come in the back on the right side.
David Teal with the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Tyler, watching Shaka on the sideline, especially when you guys are on defense, down in his crouch like he's guarding somebody, is that the way he is in practice?
I wouldn't say in practice because he's not trying to guard us, and maybe he's trying to guard the other team as a sixth defender out there. But there was actually a clip earlier this year where he was sliding on the baseline. A lot of people had things to say about it, but now he's giving us energy. He's in a stance. He's probably the lowest one on the floor. So, looking over at him, it makes us want to get in the stance.
Next question will come on the left, in the middle.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. Tyler, how aware are you all of Shaka's former life as a coach of the Longhorns, and how much would you like to win for him while he's here in Texas?
Yeah, we actually played Texas earlier this year, and obviously knew how much that game meant. But we're not really looking at the past. We're trying to go forward with this team, and he's trying to build a new legacy over here at Marquette, and us as players are trying to do that for him and help him continue with that.
Debbie, I think we may have a caller on Zoom.
Yes, we have a call from Parth. Parth, if you would unmute yourself, identify yourself, and state your question, please.
Yeah, Partha Pardai, Daily Memphian. Cam, I got a question for you. I spoke to Willie Jenkins this morning, obviously your high school coach, and he kind of raved about your growth, on and off the court and how proud he was of you for putting on for Memphis, man. What does that mean to you, representing your city on this stage and at this level?
Well, first off, shout out to Coach Willie. Appreciate what he's done for me in my career, how he's molded me as a man and a player. I mean, it feels great, especially not many, if any, people outside of my family and close friends thought I would be anything in this sport. So, I definitely keep that chip on me wherever I go. And, I take people like Coach Willie and my family with me, and we ride that together. And I'm very appreciative for them.
Okay, back here in the interview room, here on the right aisle.
Cam, with all these big performances you have in the postseason, you kind of earning more of a national reputation. People are talking about your NBA prospects and things like that. How do you deal with that, just blowing up fame-wise?
I mean, right now, I kind of don't even know what you're talking about, honestly. Haven't really been, much in touch with anything outside of this team, anything outside of, going into what we want to do. It's been a lot more peaceful that way. Not hearing from people I really don't want to hear from. So yeah, that I would say. I mean, yes, I'm appreciative for it, but I really, honestly, don't know what you're talking about.
Other questions for any of the three guys? No hands? Okay, we have one here. Toward the back on your right.
Gary Hahn with the Wolfpack Sports Network. I just wonder what you've seen of NC State and the matchup in the middle with DJ Burns being not only a force inside but an elite passer if you decide to double team him.
Who was that for again? Any of them?
Okay.
Okay, let's start with Cam first.
Yeah, we definitely know, NC State, the type of team they are, a tough team they are, a good team they are. We know what, like you said, what Burns brings, and, I mean, we're not going to change nothing that we do. We're going to go out there, we're going to be ourselves. He's going to see some traps, and we're going to adjust accordingly.
Okay, Tyler.
We were watching film today. He hit like a spin fadeaway, kind of like Escalade from the N1 mixtapes. He's good though. He's super skilled. So just trying to do everything we can to stop him.
Also.
Yeah, he's a really good player, good passer, good scorer. We've been playing really good players, really good bigs, guards, whatever all year, and we guard as 5. So to answer your question, I mean we're just gonna guard them as a team as 5 and him as a player as 5, and just keep being us, like Cam said.
Let's go back to Zoom now for another question.
We have another question from Parth. Parth, go ahead and unmute and state your question.
Cam, just got 2 quick follow-ups. You talked about kind of your growth since getting to Marquette, and obviously your development's been, amazing, to kind of say the least. What's it taken for you to get to this point, to get to the program and be a 7-point per game scorer, and to now be one of the best guards in the country? How do you describe that journey?
I mean, it's been a lot of faith, a lot of prayer. I got a lot of good people in my corner. Starting with Coach Smart. I trust every word he says to me, and he knows what he's talking about. He knows me as a person. So I would just say, man, it's been a real blessing to see how a lot of this played out, and very excited to see the future and how these great people like Oso and T and my teammates in my corner.
Okay, the right side of the room.
This is for Cam and Oso, Kyle Boone, CBS Sports. Tyler missed 6 games with the oblique injury. Came back, hasn't missed a beat since that absence. Obviously, seen an impact what he can do in the box score. For you guys, how do you describe his presence beyond the box score? You know he's going to put up the scoring, the assists. When he's on the floor, it feels like this team is a little different.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler carries himself with a great demeanor, serious demeanor, just wants to win. Very, very fierce competitor. You know, he's sharpened my competitive edge, for sure, just being around him the last few years. He's definitely a great voice for us. When he was out, he was a great voice for us, talking to me, telling me what he sees on the bench, watching games, you know, telling me to be aggressive, take over the game, whatnot, whatever the case may be. Yeah, he's been a great voice for the freshmen, and you know, having his belief and knowing that they was gonna have to step up. He's been a great voice for us, and the coach told him that, you know, like, we needed you just as much off the court when you've been out as we do, and want you on the court for sure.
Also.
Yeah, I think he brings an edge when he's on the court, and I think the ball definitely moves a lot better. Not just his assist, but when he gets the ball, and it's a domino for the rest of the play. I think when he was out, me and Cam had the ball a lot, and it was a lot more one-on-one, a lot of ISO. And we won some games like that, but I don't know if that was sustainable. And we're definitely a much better team with him on the floor.
Okay, any other questions here in the room? Any questions on Zoom? No questions? Okay, guys, we'll let you go back to your locker room. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Good luck. Be careful. We don't want you to hurt yourself up here. We will start with Coach Schock here in just a few minutes. He'll have one on this guy, too. Yeah. Okay, we are joined now by Marquette head coach Shaka Smart. Coach, would you like to make an opening statement or go straight to questions?
We're excited to be here in Dallas. It's been a heck of a journey to this point. Our guys are doing a great job being locked in on the moment. Obviously, NC State presents a lot of challenges. They're playing terrific basketball. I've known Kevin Keats for a long, long time. Ton of respect for him. So it'll be an exciting opportunity for us tomorrow evening.
Okay, thank you, Coach Smart. First question for you will be on the aisle here on your left.
Shaka, Wendell Barnhouse from Learfield Communications. Could you explain a little bit how you've used Iguodaro as sort of a secondary guy? I guess I read a couple of years ago you reached out to the Nuggets to, I guess, see how they use Jokic or whatever. And also, kind of a second part, having somebody like him, the second leading assist guy, with the leading assist guy in the nation, what does that do for your offense?
It does so much. He's a very unique player. He's unlike anyone I've ever coached. And I don't think there's really anyone else in college basketball that has the skill set that he has. There's so many great big guys around the country, so many guys that do different things. Obviously, DJ Burns is an example. But also, he's really like a point guard out there at 6'10", passes the ball extremely well. He enjoys passing. Sometimes we've got to twist his arm to shoot a little bit more. What we try to do is get the ball in his hands and create a lot of actions off of that, including pick and rolls for him. He's a really unique guy in that on back-to-back possessions, he could set a pick and roll, run to the rim, and dunk a ball where he catches it at 12 feet. And then the next possession, he can handle the ball in a pick and roll, and he could come off and either score or create for his teammates, which is just, you don't see that a lot. So he's been really, really good, and just grateful to have him. Him and Tyler together definitely set a tone of unselfishness and creating for others.
Okay, here in the aisle in the middle.
Shaka, Ben Steele, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. There were times when it might have seemed like the universe was conspiring against your team with all the nagging injuries and everything. You seem to have a very pragmatic deal with that as it comes approach, kind of like your next play philosophy. Just where does that disposition come from for you?
Try to learn from the Stoics. We just control what we can control, There's certain things that happen in basketball. It's very, very easy as a player or a coach to feel like, how is this happening to us? How is this happening to me? But the reality is, if you watch enough basketball, you're around it enough, things happen. Injuries happen. Bad bounces happen. Banked in shots from well beyond the three happen. And sometimes they happen in your favor, too. So we've asked our guys to control what we can control. Certainly it's my responsibility as a coach to set a good example in that way.
We will stay on Coach's right.
Hey, Coach, Adam Rosso with Spectrum News, Texas. Obviously, Chase is back in his old stomping grounds. What has he meant to this team for the first part, and what do you remember about getting in touch with him when you were back at UT?
We got two Texas guys on our team, Chase Ross and Cam Brown, who they got a lot of pride in this state, which is, something that I always admire about people when they feel, pride about where they're from. Chase has been terrific. He, last year as a freshman, did better than I think even he expected. And this year as a sophomore, he's continued to improve, even though he's gone through a variety of different injuries. He separated his shoulder about halfway through the season. He's had ankle injuries, different bumps and bruises, but he is tough. He's, as I describe him, as much as anybody on our team or more, he's a real dude. He's the one guy on our team. If I coached a guy at a VCU named Mo Ali Cox that plays for the Indianapolis Colts. If a football team was looking for a guy, Chase could be that too. But we love him on the basketball court. When we first got in touch with him, Cody Hatt from our staff did a phenomenal job reaching out to him. The thing about this state, recruiting this state, there are so many great players, and there's usually about a dozen or so that get the most attention in any given high school class, but then there's another, maybe 2 dozen that have the chance to be terrific and a lot of times turn into as good or even better players. So Chase kind of fell into that second tier at the time, which was part of why we were able to recruit him. And he's been an unbelievable program guy, and I think he's got a chance to be a terrific player.
Coach is right in the middle.
Kai Boone, CBS Sports. Coach, you talked a little bit about luck being in your favor or sometimes playing against you. Colette gets injured at the end of the regular season. able to come back, but it did feel like, kind of a not this again. You make it to the Sweet 16 now for the first time since 2011. Is there a sense of relief for you personally making it back to the Sweet 16?
Not really. I mean, I've been asked that question a lot. Try not to really dwell too much on the past because, then all of a sudden you do something really, really fun and exciting and your overwhelming emotions relief. So, to me, it's more gratitude, excitement, joy, appreciation for our guys, for all the things that we've been through together. And most importantly, we're sitting up here today, playing tomorrow night with the chance to advance. So obviously that's where our focus is.
In the back by the curtain.
Shaka, David Teal with the Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Hi, David.
What's up, man? Without dwelling on the past, you were on this stage in San Antonio in 2011. How have you evolved and changed, and what have you learned over that time?
First of all, it's good to see you. And you're a very good writer, so appreciate you. How have I changed? Gotten older. My hair's changed. I think probably the biggest transformation for me as a coach since 2011 is just understanding how much that I don't control. I think as a young coach, you try to assert control over so many different things. 2011 was a unique run for us just because in a lot of ways we were playing with house money. A lot of people didn't think we belonged in the NCAA tournament. And that group just had this incredible motivation of something to prove. Most of the times when you get in the NCAA tournament, there's more expectations on you. Certainly this year is that for us. But trying to understand what helps the players be their best. And I think with that, learning that coaching your team is not the same as coaching your players. And so, a lot of times as coaches, and I worked for the ultimate ball coach, Billy Donovan. We might want to do all the things that a ball coach has historically done. But one thing that he did an awesome job was a psychological disposition and helping guys with that on an individual basis. So that's probably an area where I've changed too.
Swing to the extreme left now.
Shaka, Stephen Hawkins with the AP. Since you've gone to your home state of Wisconsin to coach, it's second time in 3 years you've been back in Texas for an NCAA tournament. What's it like coming back? And I know you played the game here earlier this season, but coming back to Texas, what's it like for you? And is there something about it, especially being on this kind of stage where you wanted to be with the Longhorns?
It's great. I mean, it's an awesome place. Dallas is a neat place. I got to go walk down to the JFK Memorial today. I'm a big history guy. To be honest with you, when the season started, I always do this. I look up the NCAA tournament sites. And so today, we could be in 5 places. We could be in Detroit, Boston, LA, Dallas, or we could be in Milwaukee because the season's over. And I would have taken any of those first 4. So to be here in Dallas is awesome. You mentioned Texas. I do want to say Rodney's doing an awesome job. And I think when they went to the Elite Eight last year, that was really, really special to watch and to share that with, other folks that had been part of that program was really, really cool. So it's great to be here and excited about the game tomorrow.
Let's move to Zoom now. I think we have a question for Coach.
Yes, we have a question from Parth. Parth, please unmute yourself and State your name, affiliation, and then ask your question.
Hey, Coach Parth Upadhyay from the Daily Memphian. Cam Jones's kind of mental makeup, it seems like he's always just focused on kind of the here and now and has an ability to block out the noise, whether it be his comments to John Fanta about the All Big East team or, he was asked a couple minutes ago about his NBA draft stock, and he had no idea what folks were talking about. What does that say about the way he's wired, and how does that kind of translate to his game on the court?
Yeah, I'm going to have to get on Ben Steele about that rat poison that he tried to throw out there. I think Cam's really grown. When guys come in, they have certain experiences that they've had in their childhood, in their high school career, in their AAU career. But to a large extent, they really have no idea what goes into being successful at this level. And I'm really thankful for his receptivity, really all of our guys, but you asked about Cam, his receptivity to what it takes. And, his competitive maturity has really grown to a large extent. He still has a ways to go, but I think particularly the last several weeks, the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, we've seen just an increased focus in him. He's not messing around. He's here for a reason. He's here for a purpose. But at the same time, when it's time to have fun, he's definitely the life of the party. He's a guy dancing in the locker room with his teammates after games. So really, really grateful to have him.
Closing questions now for Coach Smart. Next question on left in the middle on the aisle.
Yeah, Shaka, Tim Kalishaw, Dallas Morning News. I know your focus is Marquette right now, but with the 1, 2, and 3 seeds from the Big East all moving on, does it feel like maybe a 4, 5, or 6 somewhere should have been in the tournament?
Well, I think so. I think that the selection process has gotten so dense with information that, sometimes the information and the data supersedes common sense. Now, I've never been on a selection committee. Got a ton of respect for those guys. Those guys, including us in 2011, changed my life. So, different committee now, but the last thing I would do was bash them. I do think that when you have a team like Seton Hall that has beaten an all-time special team like UConn and other good teams like us, you got to really, really take a hard look at them even beyond the numbers. I think UConn lost 3 games this year. So let's see, Kansas at Creighton, Kansas on the road, and then Seton Hall. So it's like one of these things is like the other. So, to me, yes, I think a team like Seton Hall was deserving. And then it was just unfortunately an imperfect storm or a perfect storm in the wrong way for our league. We had one historically bad team that hurt everybody's numbers. We had one historically good team. And then a lot of those teams that were kind of in the middle beat up on each other. And so that kind of landed us where we are. But not surprised at all that we have 3 teams in the Sweet 16 because put our team aside for a second, I think UConn and Creighton are elite teams.
All right, Coach, thank you. We're out of time. Thank you for coming, and good luck tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
See you, Coach.